Well, hello, my friends, and happy Sunday to you. So today I am going to go do a flip through of my journal, and then I'm going to prepare a new journal for the coming year, and kind of show you how I put that together. It's going to be super simple and easy and quick for today. Not going to be using any stencils. I'm not creating anything. I'm just sharing my journal with you and kind of the journey through it, and then the new journal. And then next week we will, after the new year, once you see this. I filmed the videos ahead of time, so you have, by the time you see this, you will have celebrated Christmas if you celebrate it, and I hope your holiday was wonderful. It's been a chaotic time right now for us, and I'll share more about that next week. But for now, I'm going to share my journal and a new journal. But I do want to remind you that you still have a few days to sign up for Winter Blues, and that is when studying a cool color palette and these really fun projects. So lots of light layers and texture and that kind of thing. All my favorite things in a cool color palette. So fun and super easy. So even beginners can do it. So it's a great, easy, calming journey if you need something like that through the holidays. Okay, so let's take a look at what I have out here. So here's my journal. And let's just take a flip through. Now, you saw me create the cover last week, and we'll just take a tour. And I do want to say that when I'm finished, and even not when I'm finished, as I'm working through my journals, I always keep a piece of either parchment paper or deli paper in between my pages to keep any sticking from happening. It doesn't always work. I don't like to spray my journal pages. I'm not that precious with them. So this is what I do and I kind of like the feel of that crinkly paper in between. So this was my word for the year for 2024, adventure. And so this was the page that I did for that, and that was in January of last year. I can't believe it's been a year already. And then I went on a journey. I went on an adventure, and I was experimenting. Oh, make sure you can see this. Hang on a second. Scooch this over. Move this all over. Sorry about that. There we go. That's better. So, my journal and my first page. And I have a lot of really interesting, I have whole reinforcements in here, lots of different interesting layers on this page. And then, like I said, I went on this adventure of just experimenting. And I also was using books to work from and to inspire my work. And I would kind of test things out in my journals, and then I would create an actual piece with my experimenting and from the books that I was using to get ideas and inspiration. So a lot of this is experiments. And that's one of the things that I really wanted to convey, is that our journals are for everything, for experiments, for messy pages, for unfinished pages. And this piece here was, I think it was, I actually think these were scraps left over on my table that I used to play with. I'm just trying to remember, because one of the books that I was inspired by kind of had some of these interesting interesting types of art. It was, I forget the artist's name, but it's like real interesting abstract, and I loved it. So I may have repeated something like that. But I know this one was just scraps, taking time to grow. And that was my year of adventure, of just trying everything. More scraps left on my table. This was a scrap too. This was a gel print scrap. We have to take the first step to know what lies ahead. So true. So true. This was an experiment with a background, and that was a success. This was, I think this might have been something for a workshop or the membership. She found rest. Boy. More experimenting. More experimenting. I was working on my flowers last year too, and really trying to get a free flowing kind of feel. And a lot of times I will list out on here pan pastels, soft pastels, smooth something, and then alcohol. So I love that look. And this was when I realized that I like that outline look on my flowers. And so we have to continue to take a risk, make a mess in our journals. That's what they're for. This is the safe place. This is the safety. More background experiments on this one. This is regular. I can't remember. I can't read my writing now. But I write on here, if I really like what I've done, I try to write the recipe. And then more time to just be. This says, don't be afraid to take a risk, let go of what people think, and find your joy. Look at that grungy goodness. Super, like these are like 5-second journal pages, nothing in them, but a chance to just be here, be vulnerable, quiet the noise, and let it all go. You must make your work with joy in your heart, beauty in every day. And I am not sure what the inspiration was behind these pages. I don't remember, but I love them. And then this was when I was experimenting with Monet's style from one of his books. And I was trying to get, again, working on some of those interesting flower looks. And just playing, not a finished page, but this reminds me of my journey. And that's what it's a document of our life. Grounded and grateful. This piece, this journal page, inspired a very large piece that was somewhat similar to this because I loved it so much. More playtime, leftover scraps, and just being here in the moment without a care in the world, which sounds fabulous right now. This I was experimenting with new stencils. Find joy in the process. Creating for the sake of creating. Yes, lots of scraps, lots of goodness here. And I maybe even did some gel printing with you on this page. But I love this. Love it. And then this is our collage paper challenge that we did. We did 8 months of collage paper challenge in 2024. And you had a certain color palette and like a shape. So this was stripes. And this one was circles, and you can obviously see the color palette. And these collage paper challenges are available in the subscriber library for free. And the videos and the supplies and everything are there if you want to go back and revisit them. Another collage paper challenge. The goal was to use up my copious amount of collage paper, so I developed this challenge, and I've seen some really fun pages from everyone. And my puppy is barking. He's kind of on fire tonight, so we'll have to see what we can do about the barking. But this one was, I don't remember if this was vertical stripes and horizontal stripes. I'm not exactly sure. But these were meant to be quick and easy and use the scraps that I had. This was just another playtime of some ideas that I had, and I was working out those ideas. And I was thinking about this pattern, and I was thinking about different color palettes. And so more experimenting. And then this page, I don't remember. I think this was a Sunday inspiration, maybe? June of 2024. My adventure continues. Yeah. So still adventuring. Collage paper challenge, the curves. Get to write down here what I was feeling and thinking during that time. This is such a place for us to express ourselves. Collage paper challenge squares. Don't be afraid to stand out in the crowd. Collage paper challenge triangles. This reminded me of a game board. That's why I put play. And then fall is here, and this was just a fall journal page that I did. And then this was practicing composition. And I think this was a lesson for the membership. And then this was letters and numbers, I think, for our collage paper challenge. Maybe not. I'm trying to remember. Because I did some gel printing. Yeah, I did a lot of gel printing. This was, and this one's Take a Risk. This one was the collage paper challenge with hearts. Art enables us to lose ourselves and find ourselves all at the same time. It's one of my favorite quotes. I love it. And then my journal, like my last journal page, like creative journal page for this year. And that was a couple weeks ago. And then this was 2 weeks ago. This was my last page in my journal where I kind of document some things and do some additional writing and kind of close out my journal. And that is my journal flip through. Now, let's make our new journal, my new journal. So this is 11 by 17 copy paper. And it's the size that I like. It's the same size as what I've been working in. It's nice and large. Gives me a nice large surface to work on. I have many different sizes of journals. I make 90% of my journals nowadays because I can make them as big as I want them. And I have 14 pages of copy paper here. That's going to give me 30 pages-ish of journal pages. And I like that because it's not overwhelming to finish a journal for the year. And I don't want this to be a place where I feel any anxiety to finish. And I like to do them by year because it kind of documents my life and my journey. So that's why I started making my own. And it's super easy. It's just really easy and it works for me. So what I do is, and I have all of my pages right now currently gessoed front and back. And all I do is I have my little roller tub here, and I will pour out some gesso. In fact, I'll just do one real quick. I just pour out my gesso onto my paper just a little bit, like that, to get a little extra in there. And then kind of roll out my roller and just go to town. And I have all my papers out, and I'll do the front side like this, and I'll get all the way to the edge. That's why I have this sheet down, because I'm rolling all the way out to the edge to cover everything. And then I will move on. I'll just lay this on the floor. If you have a surface large enough to put all the papers on, lucky you. But I'll just lay it on the floor and move to the next one. And then by the time I get all the pages gessoed on the front, these are dry. Or I can dry them. It just depends on how how much of a hurry you are. Like I dried some of my pages because I wanted to film. So now I want to make sure that's dry, so I'm just going to turn that over. Okay, so now I have all of my pages gessoed front and back, and it's ready to go. And I have like a bookbinding little tub here that I use like when I make my covers and all that kind of stuff. But in here I have my awl. I have different types of threads. I have my clips. And I have some wax thread is the key to keeping my journal from moving around too much, because with the wax thread it doesn't absorb the water and all the things that are happening on our journals. And so wax thread is the way to go. But I'll take my clips and I'll get my journal kind of set here. And I am not a perfectionist about this. My journal is not a place where I want that perfection. I just want it to be a safe place. And so I will do my best to try and get my pages lined up, but if they're not perfect, I don't care. Oh, you know what I did not do? I did not do this. So what I want to do, sorry about the dog, I'm really sorry. He's a puppy and he's learning. He's in doggy training. He's learning slowly. Okay, so I creased it so that I knew where the middle was. Now I'm going to line this back up, and you could measure and all those kinds of things. That's just not how I work. Okay, now I've got my needle, large needle, and thread. And a good guide for being able to sew your journal together is doing, like, roughly 3 lengths of your journal. So 1, 2, and 3. And I always have a little extra. So I've got that ready to go. Now I will kind of guess where the middle is. Like I said, this is, for me, not about perfection. And I try to tend to make these a little closer to the edge here, just to keep it a little bit more stable. Now I have an old book that I use to punch my holes. And I'm going to punch right in and kind of wiggle it around a little bit so I've got a little bit of room to get my needle through. I don't want to make the hole too big because then it won't hold very securely. Okay. I'll turn it over and check, and I made it all the way through, and that looks good. Now, you can have your tails of your thread on the inside or the outside. I want mine on the outside. Whoops. So you can see my thread is on the outside of my journal. That's what I want. So you get to choose, which way you want them. If you want it on the inside, you'll start on the inside. If you want it on the outside, you'll start on the outside. Now here's one thing that I always do right away is I will put front and back, because sometimes I get confused. I'll get it turned upside down and all kinds of things. Okay. So I'm going to start in the center and go through my hole. I'm going to pull that down and through. Okay. Now I want to leave a little tail out here. That's about right. Okay. And I'm going to go up to the top. You can go to the top or the bottom, it doesn't matter. Go to the top and push that through. Okay, now turn it back over. And I'm going to hold my string here, and I'm going to take my book out. I'm not sure what's happening here. What is happening here? My pages are a little sticky. Maybe they weren't all the way dry. Okay, that looks okay. All right. So, sorry, there's like a bubble here, and I just need to have it flat as I can. Okay, that's better. Okay, back to, so I'm going to hold on to my tail here and just kind of pull tight. And come down to my hole down here and go through my hole and pull that tight. Okay. And I'm gonna kind of tighten this up. I'm holding the tail that's back here. I'm just gonna tighten that up a little bit. Okay. Then I'm gonna come back through the center. Now I want to make sure not to go through this thread, because then it kind of gets tangled up and it's hard to pull through. And I am sorry for my head. There we go. Get in there. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it back over. And now I want to pull this nice and tight. And you can see how my thread is on the other side of my hole. I want to have one tail on both sides. And I'm going to pull that nice and tight. I can take my needle out now. I'm going to tie it. And I'm going to tie it again. And then I'm going to put this side through and this side through and knot it again. And one more time for good measure. And then I will cut the extra that I have. I like to leave these little bits here because every now and again, if it does happen to get loose, which I don't ever have an issue with, you can tighten it. Okay. Now, I can fold this over. Now, for me, and this may bother a lot of people. See how my edges are not even? They're sticking out in the middle. That's just how it happens when you're creating a book and the bookmakers come along and chop off the edge and even it all out. I don't care about that. I do not care about how even it is. None of that matters to me. So I'm just kind of pinching this down. And now I have my journal ready to go. Got a few sticky pages and set to create for next week. So that was this was that. You can see all the goodness that has happened in those pages. Okay, so that's my journal flip through. I'll have the supplies that I used listed below. And in case you want to do your own, you can definitely do that. And okay, my loves. So that is my journal flip through and my new journal all ready for next week. I hope that as you enter into the new year, that you are filled with some peace. Sometimes the holidays are not easy, and we are experiencing that right now. And I'll share more about that next week. But there's still joy. There's still joy in there somewhere. There's still gratitude to be found. And so I hope that your Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever, was wonderful, and that you got to be with people that you love, and that your new year brings in a new release for you, a new journey for you, one that's filled with love and joy, and that you can create that love and joy yourself. So, my loves, Happy New Year, and I will see you next week, and we'll start this new year off with my word for the year and a new page in my brand new journal. All right, my loves, have a wonderful Sunday, and always, always know that you are loved.